On behalf of Cofense and CARAHCAST, we would like to welcome you to today's podcast, focused around the state of the phishing landscape, why being intelligence-led, human reporting, and AI are a must to protect your agency. Cofense's Keith Abargwin, Chief Product Officer, and Molly McDougall, Director of Product Management, alongside CARAHCAST's Nikhil Gupta, will discuss why threat intelligence is so valuable and how agencies can overcome a rapidly evolving threat landscape to effectively defend themselves.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. I'm joined by two wonderful experts today, and I'll get things started in just a second. But, I'm very excited to get this conversation underway and obviously to talk about today's topic, phishing, of course, and the state of the phishing landscape, right? Why human reporting and AI is going to be both required to protect your agency, right? And we're going to kind of dive into a lot of those details. We're going to talk about the state of phishing today. We're going to talk about, hey, what some of the solutions are, what some of the challenges are, what some of the ways forward are, and just again that human versus AI element, or that human with AI element, to ensure proper security. So I have the pleasure again of introducing myself and both of our panelists. They know a lot more than I do. So, you guys are in for a great treat with a good discussion. Briefly for myself, I am the demo specialist team lead at CARAHCAST. I specialize in our core cyber division with a lot of cybersecurity solutions. I've been at CARAHCAST for about 4 years now. Some of you may recognize me from a different webinar you may have watched. So obviously this one is co-sponsored with CARAHCAST and Cofense. And with that, I'm going to introduce both of our panelists today, both from our partnership with Cofense. A lot of you may know them as the elite phishing defense platform. So first off, we'll start with you, Keith Abargwin. He has over 25 years of diverse technical and managerial experience. As you can see right now, he is the Chief Product Officer of Cofense. He most recently served as the Chief Engineer for the Law Enforcement and Domestic Security Division at the MITRE Corporation. So obviously a long history of working in the space. He's worked to develop and enable novel solutions across a number of MITRE sponsor and internal programs throughout his career, leveraging his expertise in cyber operations, enterprise security software development, and of course, enterprise IT design and deployment. Throughout his years of working in service, he's led activities in the DoD, the intelligence, the law enforcement communities, as well as partnered with numerous non-for-profit and commercial firms. He is a leader in building and running agile teams. He's also worked closely with MITRE's corporate leaders to evolve and advance MITRE's brand, strategic direction, and future roles as a leading manager of federally funded research and development care centers. As Chief Product Officer, Keith obviously will bring extensive working of research and understanding of the subject. He's worked with customers, he's executed advanced solutions at Cofense, and of course, build and leading dynamic teams in the Cofense family. So Keith, thank you for joining us. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Nick. It's very good to be here.
Perfect. And then as well, thank you, Keith. And last panelist we'll have for today is Molly McDougall. She is the Director of Product Management for Cofense Intelligence. So leading that development within the Cofense team, and she oversees the production and strategic development of all of the Cofense intelligence product. Her mission is to ensure customers have the phishing intelligence they need to inform and implement an effective, proactive phishing defense strategy. Molly has a background in intelligence, policy, and strategic analytics, of course, with prior experience at the United States House of Representatives and the United States Department of Homeland Security. So obviously tons of experience in the space. And Molly, she's also a Master of Arts in Law and Diplomacy from the Fletcher School at Tufts University. So shout out there. Molly, thank you so much for joining us, and it's a pleasure to have you as well.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Perfect. So that is our speakers, and that's myself, of course. We have a great discussion for you guys, and let's get into it, right? Without further ado, right? I know we have the full hour almost, but we have a lot to talk about. So I'm sure Molly and Keith are gonna definitely give you guys tons of insights in the space, and I'm again happy to have them here with us. So let's go ahead and get started, Molly and Keith, with the first question, if you guys don't mind, if you guys are all ready to go.
Nick, thank you very much for that introduction. It's excellent. And I think one of the things that you touched on is, the public space that we've been in for a long time, the public sector that we've been supporting so much. And one of the beauties of working at Cofense is that it took that sort of focus on the mission that you see often in the public sector and brought it to a career outside and working for Cofense. And I guess I have the honor of having Molly be the first person that I had ever met in Cofense when I first joined the company in the end of 2018. It's been a good ride ever since. Before we set the stage here, first off, I did want to thank you, Nick. So thank you guys and CARAHCAST as well for your partnership with us. And of course, for the audience. Thank you guys very much for being here. Getting into setting the stage for the conversation and for the questions, Nick, that you're going to be diving into. One of the things that Molly and I were talking about this before the conversation, and obviously very much on our forebrain around the world, for everyone's forebrain, is the Ukrainian conflict that's going on, and we will touch on that from a phishing perspective as we go through this conversation. That's not going to be the focus, particularly of the exclusive focus of this conversation, though the fact that it isn't the focus doesn't really diminish our thoughts and prayers to that region. We're feeling for the Ukrainian people, and as this conflict evolves, there are going to be numerous implications around the cybersecurity space, the impact of sanctions, fiscal impacts, the regional impacts, of course, across Europe and the world. And as that evolves, we're going to be continuing to put out blog posts and notifications through the various channels from Cofense's marketing team and Molly's intelligence team to stay on top of that. So even though we may not be touching on that throughout, check in with us on a regular basis and we'll be updating it through that forum. Swinging back to the topic at hand here, the challenges that we all face in the public sector, the DoD writ large is a massive ecosystem. It's got a huge footprint. And so the amount of vulnerability that exists across that ecosystem obviously is comparably large as well. There are tremendous numbers of partnerships, supply chain challenges, and the like.